hope so.
Well, okay, I forgot. I don't know what our side. It's cold, but we just turn on the fan because that still air for some reason makes us all feel gross.
Last episode, towards the end, started to get a little hot.
Oh yeah,
just a little bit. But then again, I have a scarf on.
You could just take off the scarf.
Hey. Could you pay attention to last week's episode?
No.
Fashion over function.
I caught the later half. The first half I forgot what it. Alright, let's go.
Oh, so everything's rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, guys, damn, episode 16. I say that every episode.
I know. No, you've only said that this time.
Really?
Because this last time was episode 15.
It's only episode 16.
That was actually a good one.
Yeah.
It wasn't stupid like all of mine.
Yeah, I know.
That make no sense. Oh man. It's been an eventful week already for us, guys. I think that we should just start off with a moment of silence for Stan Lee.
Oh yeah.
Yep. R.I.P. to the legend.
Wait, we're gonna have to cut. I don't think Mike's mic is on.
My mic's not on.
No, it's on.
Now it's on.
It wasn't on earlier?
No.
I don't know. I had it. It was a blue light earlier. Hello. Yeah. See, there you go.
Talk mic?
Hello.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I think it might be muted, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know how this thing
I'm
works.
gonna start that over. 'Cause that was
Yeah.
the intro, so I hate to.
Yeah. Well,
Take two.
take two.
First take two.
Damn it,
not
Brian.
All things considered, it's not bad. On our 16th episode.
Yeah.
16th episode of Smooth Operations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was saying, just wanted to pay some respects to Stan Lee. He passed away yesterday, which was November 12th, at the age of 95. Left behind quite a legacy, and well, let me tell you something, man. I don't think that there's anything to really be sad about, man. We've got 95 years of an amazing life. He created a lot of amazing memories for us all.
Yep.
R.I.P., man.
Yeah. So kind of going along with that, if you were to, he's created so many superheroes. His ideas were crazy and outlandish. I mean, there's some really wild superheroes that are less known. But kind of along that line, if you were to give yourself a superhero name, what would it be?
The superhero name.
Yeah.
That's a
Damn, way to just put us on the spot of not being prepared, dude.
That's a
I don't
hard
even.
one.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even
a hard
know.
one.
What would you?
I don't know.
I feel like you've given this.
No,
some
not
thought.
really. I mean, it's just kind of came to my head, but
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to steal a name that's already out there, but just knowing who I am, maybe like low key. Not spelled the same.
Low key.
For all of our international listeners, it's L-O-W key. It's
pretty funny.
it's how we Americans talk. Low key, huh?
I don't know.
Okay, how about you, Daryl?
I have no idea. I really have no idea.
I was thinking of something very inappropriate, so I obviously can't say it on here. But are we going back to superpowers though?
You can if you want to.
I should probably keep it to myself.
We can discuss this off the air.
Yeah, we can revisit.
Yeah.
It's just something that popped in my head because it's just I don't know. It's just something to talk about. I don't know.
Low key.
Hey, so
I
what was-
really don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one. I'll probably have an answer maybe by the end of this podcast.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what?
I just thought of one for you, actually, but I don't
Which
know.
one?
What is that?
Say it.
Toothless?
Oh!
Damn. That was all right.
I don't know why. I just thought of the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I got one for you.
His name was Toothless?
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen the movie.
G Maximus.
G
for your
Maximus. Ooh.
referring to your glutes.
G Maximus.
If you follow him on his Instagram,
If you follow me on my Instagram, for all of you out there who don't know, but I have some of the best, natural legs and glutes in town.
He really goes out of his way to show them too.
I got no shame in my game, homie.
hey, that's cool, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't,
G Maximus. That sounds like a porn star. Like, if I'm scrolling online, I'd be like, oh man, well, this is going to be a bad video. Why? Well, first off, I wouldn't
man.
be in that section, of course. Oh yeah. So by the way, so Zeril called me toothless because everyone out there. Well, but you've probably seen it in maybe the first few episodes of the Jadacast podcast. But here, well, let me show everybody. I have.
Only if you're watching,
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, another reason to incentivize you to watch, but I'm missing a tooth right here, and then I have a fake one. Ta-da! Yeah. So like I had a baby tooth.
you know what's crazy? Because that insert is kind of like an Invisalign,
Yeah.
but it looks a lot more invisible than an Invisalign.
Yeah.
It looks really good. You can't tell it's there.
Yeah.
It's actually a retainer.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's basically what Invisalign, like, you know,
Yeah.
the
Oh, they are?
yeah, they're
Yeah.
retainers that just help you straighten your teeth. But I can't help that everyone that wears them looks like boxers, but you don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is actually pretty thin.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Oh, probably that's why, because the Invisaligns are made to move your teeth, and they can't be very flexible, so they have to have that thickness.
Exactly.
The
Like,
Invisaligns are pretty thin also.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I just think it's the way that it fits in your mouth. But like my retainer is a little bit thicker, for example. So like if I have it in, like you'd be able to tell that I'm.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm wearing a mouth guard.
Yeah, yeah,
oh, it
yeah.
does?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what they like. Whenever I see someone wearing them, because there's a few people around here that in our office that wears them during office hours, and yeah, it looks like they're ready to go play football or something.
Yeah, like for mine, I have to wear it overnight. Well, I'm supposed to wear it overnight, but let's be honest, I never wear that shit overnight.
Really,
I
the
never wear
one you're wearing now?
Yeah,
Why? Your teeth are straight. It's not like
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, because
Just in case
But, you know,
someone
the
wakes you
dentist-
up and you want to look good.
I woke up this way. I hate those girls. You know damn well that you didn't wake up that way. No, but like yeah. So my teeth, they never move anymore. You know, like I had braces for maybe a few years, and then they've just stayed solid ever since. And then I used to have a massive, it's an underbite, right? If it's under.
If
Well,
your
like-
lower jaw is protruding outward, that's
Yeah.
an underbite. Yeah.
Yeah, like so I had a massive underbite, and now I have an overbite. It's
Oh,
crazy.
really?
Yeah. For rubber bands and that they make you wear.
I'm kind of the same way. I have a pretty big jaw. But I had an underbite now because of the bands. It's like a semi overbite.
Yeah. The rubber bands stuff is crazy. Of how like such a simple solution
Yeah.
can actually fix and restructure your whole damn skull, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
It's weird. Oh yeah. So, anyways, and this is the dirty part about my fake tooth is that so I have to get an implant if I want it to be permanent. Tell me why the dentist has figured out that the most visible teeth that people see immediately are the most expensive ones, and so mine, even with insurance, it's like $7,000. $7,000, and my insurance only takes off $800. I'm like, so what you're telling me is that this tooth costs more than my car?
Well, is it because it's considered like a cosmetic?
I think so, but shouldn't that? But it's dental though.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like I'm trying to get some duck lips. I already have I already have some duck lips, but you know, black people got big lips.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe I should start a Patreon.
Yeah, maybe.
Patreon, yeah, or a GoFundMe account.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
Can they investigate you for like, you know, say for example, if you have a GoFundMe account for this specific purpose to buy or pay for for X, Y, and Z, but you go off and buy a car with it, can they investigate you for that? You think, or is it kind of just based off principle?
I have no idea.
I don't know how that works.
I've never opened one up. I've donated to them.
Yeah.
Depending on
Such
who
a
it
nice
is.
guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on who it is. I'm not gonna just like
Be
anyone.
scrolling.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's how I took it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought you
no,
were
no,
just-
no. It's like, for example, a friend of mine had some kind of accident and they needed
Oh,
the help.
okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
those kind of things, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do. But as if
I thought
I'm
you were
not
just
no
taking
random
time out of
person.
your day.
Oh no.
So that's what you do here.
Yeah, just scroll through that and just like, oh, this looks just. Throw a
They
couple
should
bucks.
come up with like a serious sob story of like, oh, I was teased all throughout high school. I never had a girlfriend. I had dreams of being a runway model, but this is the one thing that's been holding me back. Please, I need $7,000.
Oh,
That'd be kind of dirty though.
see, that's the thing is, you never know. There's some shady people that will probably come up with some crazy story just to get a couple more bucks.
Yeah.
I remember like even with Kickstarter, there was something that I was looking interested in. I didn't back it, but it was a helmet that had a heads-up display, and it's a motorcycle helmet. So in the motorcycle helmet, it has a heads-up display in the glass that's covering your eyes, so you can
that's
kind of
kinda cool.
see, like you can use it for GPS and whatnot instead of having to look at.
distracting.
Yeah, it seemed distracting. That's why I didn't fund it. I didn't back it or anything. But apparently the guys got those dudes that started it got funded like crazy. A lot of people put money into it, and they started buying like cars and like going out on crazy like binges of drinking and nightclubbing and all that. And yeah, I don't know if how it works, but I'm sure they had to pay it all back because they got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they probably have to pay it back to like a venture capitalist on top of. Well, they probably have the Kickstarter account, but I'm assuming that like maybe they also had a venture capitalist as well that they got to pay back. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure because they got. I think there was over $1 million something backed on Kickstarter.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I think for like those, for those big ass amounts of money too, the FBI they'll straight up
Oh, man.
come in and be like, all right,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I got a fun icebreaker since everybody here cares about cars. All right, so you have so if you had to choose one car of your choice and one road of your choice to outrun the police in, and it's a straight up empty road, well, nobody's on there, which car would you choose and which road? Well, I guess road it doesn't matter so much because there's so many of them, but which car would you choose to outrun the police in?
Aren't police cars outfitted? Do they have superchargers in them?
Not all of them. Well, most cops are still having, I think that for most cops they're still in the Ford Victoria or they're in Ford Explorers and stuff.
I mean, not that it really matters.
I see Chargers every now and
I don't
then.
know. Yeah.
Curious.
I just know that they really train these guys to drive these things and
Do they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah.
Yeah. Some of my buddies that are cops, they tell me like the actual driving training that they do. Yeah, they go
Really?
pretty hard. Yeah.
And so would you say we've got like what cops probably have a decent amount of skills compared to compared to like a race car driver,
I mean, I don't know what training like race car drivers have to go through, but I know like the police driving aspect of it is pretty rigorous.
or like
they
a
make
Ken
them-
block, for example.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
Ken block is like a
like-
10 obviously.
yeah.
Would you say that maybe police training is maybe like 4 or 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just heard stories, but yeah,
That'd be fun.
it would be.
Yeah, I've
Be
always
like a-
wanted to learn, some stunt driving or like professional driving stuff.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, some gymkhana.
Yeah. Are we talking like stock car or just any car that I've seen?
Any car that you want.
Dude, it'd be dope to run away from a cop in a Huna truck.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
With an American flag waving out the window.
America.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I-
but
I
that
don't
arrow though, it would throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, but that thing's got like 900 some
Yeah.
horsepower, like
It-
700 pound-feet of torque.
It would probably
Whatever.
snap the flagpole in half.
Yeah.
Recently, I don't know what car I would drive, but it'd have to be something that has good handling and good acceleration. But the road, I just got, after SEMA was over, I went over to this place called Valley of Fire.
Oh,
It's
I
a
want to go
national
there
park.
so bad.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
But the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, but the roads are pristine and they curve and they bank and there's a lot of ups and downs and it's an awesome road to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so tempted to just floor the truck and drive through there, but I've gotten a ticket out there. Or almost
Insert a
gotten ticket.
picture of at Project TRD Pro right here.
Hey,
Because he just posted a picture and I saw the
road.
yeah.
Yeah, right. That road it's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome there, and just to drive through that. I mean, if you can, there's like it's desert, but the sand on that desert is like talcum powder. So you don't really worry too much about what's on the road because it's so fine. The road is kept really well. It's like it's super smooth. The blacktop is like there's no potholes. It's a cool road to drive, but it's 25 miles an hour in some places. So you can't drive fast there, but I would have loved to.
Well, is it actually enforced?
Yeah, I got pulled over there, and that was the first time I used the I got to go to the bathroom excuse.
Oh,
And
I've
they let
always
me out.
thought of using that excuse.
Yeah, and it worked because I was on the way to the their up ahead was the visitor center, and that was the only bathroom for Miles. And said, I got to go to the bathroom, and he said, all right, so just keep it slow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he followed me all the way over there, and I went to the restroom.
Damn.
I have a feeling that if I was a cop, I would pull over people who were doing race car stuff, not in a race car, because that just pisses me off. Sometimes I'll be on the freeway and there will be a dude in a Toyota Corolla zipping in and out of traffic at like 110 miles per hour, and I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, just stop. But if you're in a real car, it's like, all right, well, it's still it's still bad, but I'm a car guy,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hey, and that's what it was made for.
I don't really mind that too much, as long as they're doing it where the guy or the person has driving skill.
Yes.
You look at him and you're like, oh, that guy knows how to drive. He's ballsy, but he's not doing it stupid. Like when you see guys cut off people and they kind of do that swerve back and forth just to try to keep in the lane, and they're not like paying attention. But if you see someone who's confident and knows how to cut the lanes and it's just like waving back and forth and
Yeah, I'd
and
let
getting
that
in.
go.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that guy's pretty bad.
So long as it's not a Prius. Biggest culprits out there.
But did you guys see that video? It was maybe about a month ago. There was a guy. He was in a Huracan, and a cop had like pulled up next to him, and the cop tried to race him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the cop
I
tried
think-
to race him, and he got annihilated.
Yeah.
But then he just
Let him go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I thought this was like an
So the cop-
entrapment thing.
The cop was the one who like provoked it, but
Yeah.
I guess he just wanted to have a good time, as opposed to just
kinda
being
cool.
a jerk.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Going back to your question, if I had to pick a factory car, it's just because I've been on a Porsche craze lately.
GT3.
GT2.
GT2.
GT2 RS.
Yeah.
That would be my pick.
Okay.
It's not a bad car to choose.
Because straight line performance and handling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Mike?
That's where I was thinking is in the Porsche range, because that's the driving car. That's the one that everyone knows is built for speed and for handling and all that.
Yeah.
That's probably where I would go.
You could do just about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was driving out to that Valley of Fire. As you're going on the 15 East past Vegas, there's this racetrack on the right side where you can drive exotic cars, and I'm cruising about 65, 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and I see these Porsches that are just coming around the corner and just gunning it, and they look so freaking fast. I was like, man, let's go over there. Let's go drive.
Let's just
That's what I
pit stop
wanted to-
real
yeah,
quick.
exactly. That's what I wanted to do.
Just
It
makes you
was-
wanna
but
go.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like my wife was in the car and she was watching it and she's like, man, look how fast those guys are going.
Yeah.
And I'm going already like 70 miles an hour, and these things are just like down that straightaway, which is parallel to the freeway I was on. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You can feel the excitement from the distance I was at. I was just looking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can feel how fast they're going just from watching it.
Yeah, like like the air kind of just like hits you a little
Yeah.
bit, but you got to steer properly again. You're like, yeah, I love that feeling.
And watching them take the corners, I mean, it was just
Effortless.
like what's the term, on rails? That's what it. The car looked like it was on rails.
If I had to choose one, I'd probably choose a 720S.
Hmm?
McLaren
Really?
720S. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much
Yeah.
the greatest car in the world right now. I mean, according to everybody who's driving it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably choose that. I've always had a fantasy though, because I want to get that Warren Buffett type money, So,
Yeah.
so, and this is actually a life goal of mine, because I feel like life is all about it. Like life is all about experiences. So I want to one day. I want to go on a cop car chase. I'm in, say for example, a McLaren 720S. I want to get caught. I want to get taken to jail, post bail that same day. As my car is getting crushed, I want to be picked up in the exact same car, and then just go about
You're
my
funny,
very
man.
day. Yeah,
Your crazy little fantasies.
that's actually a fantasy of mine,
Like
which will come true.
like your restaurant one with the valet.
Yes, I think
Just
about
plays
that.
out all these scenarios
Yeah.
in his head.
Yes,
What was that? That's flashback to what, episode 4 or something like that?
that was actually, I think that was our first episode in here, which was episode 7.
Oh, really?
Episode 7.
Damn,
yeah.
you guys are good. I don't remember anything.
It's hard to remember though. It's
Yeah.
it's like everything just seems like a blur.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that
Like, I don't even remember last week's. Like, I got to go listen to it now that you're done
Yeah.
with it. I'm
yeah,
just like,
it's so weird.
Yeah.
And and then to think that like eventually we'll be on episode 300
yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, I guess that we should get on to business with today's podcast. So, we being in the toy industry, everything is a business overall, and there are certain laws. Well, not laws, but there are certain things that could ensure that you either A, succeed, or B, fail. And the toy industry has its own types of ways to go about things that might be a little bit different from other types of industries. So if you guys are familiar with Dante's Inferno, there are the 7 deadly sins. So if you guys had to chalk up what the 7 deadly sins of the toy industry are, what would they be?
Damn.
I don't know if I can name 7, but the one thing that comes to my mind is never produce a product that is difficult to market, that's difficult to explain to the consumer. Because if they don't get it right away, it's something that they're not going to want to purchase. We've had experience like this in the past where the item was awesome, it was magical, but the problem was when you try to market it, people don't understand it.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that they'd understand it right away, or else they're just not going to be attracted to it at all. So you have to.
The overcomplication of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the item, and I'll say it. It's we had a product called the Air Guitar Rocker, the Guitar Hero Air Guitar Rocker.
Oh man.
It was magical. I mean, it was a belt buckle with a pick, and you strum in front of the belt buckle, and you don't have to touch the belt buckle. You just strum in the air, and it plays a chord. So every time you strum, it plays a chord of a song. And we had these pre-recorded songs, and you just keep strumming to the rhythm of the song, and it plays the full song. So if you do it correctly, it sounds exactly like the song. If you do it at the wrong rhythm, it doesn't sound like the song. But it
but you could like actually hear it. Well, miss a chord or miss a string.
like
I see.
dun 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 dun.
Deep Purple.
Exactly. But if you did it wrong, and if you did it fast, you won't even sound the same. But then you would have to act it all out. So whenever we did videos and we tried to do a little like YouTube video thing, people are like, oh, why would I need that? I can do that with a tennis racket. But they don't understand that the music's coming out of, so we had a belt buckle, a little amp, which is a speaker it looked like a Marshall amp that was connected to the belt buckle, and the belt buckle was just a sensor that picked up the wave of the what's it called, of the pick.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. As soon as you give it to someone to try out, they understood it, and they're like, wow, this is cool, and they bought it. Like, we had live appearances at local retailers and had people try it, and almost maybe about 95% of the people who tried it bought it. But you try to put it on a commercial and you have people watch it, they're like, what's this? This guy, and there's really nothing there for people to see. All you see is a guy or a girl or a little kid waving their hand in front of their waist, and that's all it is. They don't understand what's happening because it marketing wise, you have to experience it to be able to understand it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
I don't know. Yeah. I think for me, I feel like it's being a good partner. Mm-hmm. Whether that's on the retail level or the licensing level. We talked about this in previous podcasts before too, where like it's kind of like going above and beyond, I think, to service that relationship. At the end of the day, the toy industry is actually not that big. So if you've been around long enough, you meet a lot of big players, and you just never know like who you're gonna run into or whose help you might need. Mm-hmm. And so you never want to burn bridges, especially in the toy industry, I feel. Yeah. Because everybody talks. And
it's a small, big industry.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of trippy. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Along those lines, another one would be to understand your contracts with your licensors. Make sure that you know all the details, because you can be missing something. You can overlook something. There's a lot of details in there. If you don't understand what's in there, you can't use certain things to your advantage. You may be wasting money, not knowing what's in the contract. But yeah, if you have to make sure. And with our company, we have a lot of different licenses, and there's a lot of different contracts to keep track of. We have to make sure we know all the details for every one of them, and they're all different. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing that would be a huge problem if we didn't understand all of our contracts.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd just be wasting money left and right.
Yeah, wasting money and not knowing what we can spend money on, and it's because it's tough. It's like we have to make sure that our licensing department is on us. The marketing department is on top of all of our marketing commitments. There's things that are in there that you have to keep track of, or else, if you don't, you just write a check and it's just gone.
Yeah.
Into thin air. Mm-hmm. All right.
So not quite 7, but those are like some of the main ones.
That's 3.
Like, okay. 3 like it's just kind of like at first thought, like what pops into our minds as far as like, some of the things maybe to pay attention to or to take into account, I think. But
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you finished up the 7 or the 3 sins with that last one talking about wasting money, because another question I have is in terms of PR and for marketing, how about if you guys could try to identify 5 of the biggest things that just waste money, that not just in the toy industry, but also with any industry period. What are things a business will do to try to market themselves or to gain PR, but it's just going nowhere? It's a black hole. It's a money wasting pit. Well, what are 5 things that you guys have seen over the 3 years?
I can give one that I feel then provides like multiple subcategories under this one, and feel free to tack onto it. But I think branding.
Yeah.
I feel like in today's age, how I kind of see it, like we live in a society right now where a lot of like small businesses are becoming the new hot thing, right? Like a lot of people are kind of self-proclaiming, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur." and,
Check my Insta bio.
yeah, like a young CEO and all, like it's just kind of like the age that we're living in. But I feel like a lot of people have the wrong idea. And again, this is just my opinion of I feel like what I've seen, and I guess my approach would be much different. But as it relates to I don't know, like these startup companies versus like us, where we're a medium-sized, toy company. A lot of them tend to focus more on waste money on branding, like right off the bat.
How so?
So I feel like, and this is where I feel it kind of goes and creates its own subcategories. So like when you're talking about creating an ad or a graphic, a creative image to be rolled out, digitally or social and things like that, then I feel like people waste a lot of time and money on the creation of that because they're looking for things to they're approaching it, I think, very creatively, which I think you should, but they forget like the business aspect of it, right? So like whether it's your call outs on it, like a call to action, making sure that it, like certain like placements for text or image assets is pretty key, I feel, in creating like said ad, or even if you wanted to make a billboard. I think just to have like the basic necessities in place, whether it's your social media call outs, your website, again, the call to action, whatever that message is, trying to make it very clear, like to what we were talking about a little bit earlier when it comes to the product, like making sure it's visually well represented. I feel a lot of people get caught up in like making it very pretty. And that they neglect like that kind of stuff. And then they go and back it with some crazy budget that might not be strategically well thought out, I feel. So not only did you just waste money on like some crazy budget to promote this on all over social, it's not an effective ad, right? Then at that point, I would probably assume that you're not even spending or allocating the necessary amount of money on like tracking. Targeting is another thing, right? So that's where I say under branding, there's all these multiple subcategories.
Yes.
So that's kind of like what came into my mind with.
I have a couple, and they're not as maybe complex or deep in the marketing world as Daryl, but
It could be PD too.
No.
It could be anything. It could be
well,
anything.
we just got back from SEMA. You set it up. You saw how everything worked. There's a ton of carpet out there. Oh. And what do they do with that carpet after?
Well, not only that. A ton of white carpet.
Yeah, ours had a ton of white carpet.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
it wasn't
go,
white by the end of the show.
Do they open that up, wash them all down, and then reuse them for the next show?
Hell no.
Because they're cutting every one of these. Every show they cut carpet to fit the showroom floor and how the whole thing lays out. So I don't think they're reusing carpet. They're doing new rolls of carpet for every show. Yeah. And that is a huge waste to me, it looks. Because it's just like, it's just a massive amount of carpet. Yeah, it's cheap carpet, but it's thousands and thousands of square feet of carpet.
That shit adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. And then the other thing is, have you ever went to a movie theater, and how many, besides the movie trailers, do you remember any of the ads that happened before the movie?
Zero.
So spending money on those movie pre-roll advertising, I think is a waste of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost as bad as TV commercials in today's world.
Yeah.
It's almost as useless as billboards.
Well, TV commercials now are, everyone has DVR. They skip through it. So that's another one.
I think it's going with the times though, because like a few years ago, spending money on like tracking
Yeah.
and targeting specifics like wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Now it's a very important thing.
It's almost a science now.
Yeah, but
well,
you-
even before, like maybe I want to say 5-6 years ago, they didn't even track DVR because they couldn't. They didn't know how to. And now, people who record and watch later, they're able to track that now.
It's funny because like this is almost the internal struggle for myself as marketing. One that I have still been trying to find an answer to, and I'm not sure that I will, just because I feel like right now, you have this diversity. I feel that's in the toy industry where you're having a little bit of the younger generation now,
Yeah.
but you have a lot of the older generation, like the longer players, whether it's a buyer or an existing toy company.
Right.
So the older generation is kind of stuck on their ways of what they feel is still effective, whereas the younger generation sees something completely, totally different. So, and what I'm referring to is the TV commercial aspect of it, right? You spend like upwards of $500,000 for a TV commercial, like just to make and air.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everything that we just talked about, as far as like the targeting and tracking like the return, maybe even placing like a link to the product page where you can directly, have people go to a specific place to find exactly what it is they're looking for or what they might have just saw. I think is more effective than running a 30-second or a minute-long TV commercial, blast it, whether it's nationally televised, and just kind of like, pray and hope that people see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's just kind of, I don't know. That's just my perspective. But here's the thing, man. Like, a lot of retailers still love it. A lot of licensing partners still love it. And when they hear that you're doing a TV commercial, to them, they just think, oh, they're backing it with marketing dollars.
And that can really let you know that like they're still being ran with that 1950s style business mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, it's also my job to understand the different perspectives so that I can adequately present my maybe opinion, right? So on one hand, I suppose I can understand it. Like, at the end of the day, I think we understand that while a lot of the generation or people today are on Netflix, on YouTube, on Hulu, Amazon Video, whatever, there's still a good amount of people that are watching TV. It's just, I think the overwhelming population is just kind of like deviated away from that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
To me, it's right now. It almost seems like it makes more sense to pay an influencer more than doing a commercial.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Targeted
Yeah.
influencer, I feel, but you know,
yeah.
like at the end of the day, like it makes a difference actually when we go into a meeting as marketing to say we're gonna run this, we're not gonna run this commercial or sizzle traditionally via commercial, but we're going to run this digitally and back it with X amount of dollars. But here's all the back end information that we're able to receive that's more quantifiable than running a TV commercial. And
like a TV commercial is, it's hit and miss. You put a TV commercial out and you can kind of set where you want it to show so you can possibly hit the right target audience, but you
just
don't know.
But you just said something right now that kind of proves the point that like I've been trying to make internally for the longest time. Possibly,
yeah, it's possibly. It's because you don't know who's actually watching it, But when you go to like a YouTube and kids are watching a certain kid that likes to play with toys, you want to target, and you want to target those age kids. You know that if you're going to put your commercial in front of that, they're going to see it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more, I think it's more worth our while and our money to go to that.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah. Your money goes a lot longer. It goes a long way.
Well, there's a lot of math behind, what your product is and then trying to find who your demographic is. For example, if I have, a life insurance company, all right, I won't go too hard on social media because okay, a majority of social media is probably younger age people who don't have a lot of money, who aren't exactly thinking of life insurance, and so it probably couldn't be that great of an ROI to advertise on Instagram.
ROI is return on investment.
Oh yeah, sorry. But say for example, with the elderly population, they still watch TV, they still watch commercials, they still read the newspaper. They're usually not on an Instagram or a Facebook,
Right.
and so maybe I should target it there.
Yeah.
And then with whoever else is your demographic, I think it just comes down to the main thing is targeting who they are and then treating it as if it's a lightsaber, which is a very concentrated beam of light, as opposed to a flashlight, which is just dispersed everywhere, pretty weak, and the possibility of finding who you want.
And one thing I want to clarify too, like this is my perspective on as it pertains to us as a company and how we view it, right? Because we're not like a huge toy company, but given over the past couple of years, considering ourselves to be really medium sized, we have to be a little bit more dialed in and strategic in our decision making as it pertains to dollars being spent.
Yeah.
So if at the end of the day it's going to cost us, I don't know, I'm just throwing this number out there, $1 million to shoot and run a TV commercial versus like, I don't know, 100,000 to produce and back a spot digitally, which one do you think we're going to lean towards?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
So
which one's going to be more efficient and work better for your money? Yeah.
Right. So I'm coming at it from the viewpoint of us as a company. And I'm not saying don't ignore or don't like write off the fact that like TV commercials aren't effective. It might be well worth it, I think, if we were much bigger and we have multiple product offerings. But I just think for our dollar to go further and be a little bit more effective for who we are, makes a little bit more sense to strategically, I think, make the better financial decision to do everything that we just talked about.
In sales, there's a term called a pre-qualified consumer. It's a consumer that is most likely to purchase your product. When you do a TV commercial that you put online or on broadcast, the people that are seeing it, there's a lot less pre-qualified people than there are if you were to do it on a targeted YouTube ad, for example.
Yes.
So you want to hit those people that are more likely to see your commercial and want to buy your product.
Absolutely. And another thing too, I think that for us to be a medium-sized company, in a lot of ways it's an advantage too, because even though we might not have $1 million to make a TV commercial that has almost no impact for us, we can take smaller chunks of money. We'll target it, focus it on something that can have a bigger impact on us. Or if we missed that ball completely, we didn't spend a ton of money too. So it's kind of like in martial arts. For example, if this guy is a big 260-pound dude who's a really good striker,
Name G Maximus.
name G Maximus. He can knock you out in one blow, but he doesn't have a ground game, and you're a smaller dude.
Yeah.
Whose striking isn't that good, you should take him to the ground instead.
Yeah.
I mean, just play to what your strengths are and use what your advantages are that you have at the moment,
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it.
And with being medium-sized, I mean, we're quick, nimble, and agile enough to kind of change,
we don't have to go through a board of directors and bureaucracy and all that other type of crap.
Well, it's just the kind of the DNA of and our culture here. Jada Toys is we don't have a lot of people and levels we have to go through to make things happen, because we all kind of more work together on a more level playing field.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, and it's a different way of running things, but I think it's really efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could actually speak face to face to make a choice instead of having to send an email off to God knows where and
Yeah.
wait 3 months for something to come back. You know?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think going back to your question of like wasting money, I think that's a perfect example of like running a traditional TV commercial versus running it on like a digital space. Like, and again, pertaining to us, which one's the better one for Jada as a company, given the size we're at, given that the budget that we have, our money goes a lot further on the social and digital space.
Absolutely. Another thing, that I think is a huge waste of money, that it could be good, but I feel like the market has become so saturated with it. Is these companies who go out and they'll spend the money on either an influencer agency, a PR agency, or some types of marketing agencies. Is there a use for that? I think so, but I think a lot of these influencer-based agencies are missing the ball on what it even means to be an influencer. Just because somebody has a lot of followers, or just because somebody is able to pimp a product from week to week, does not mean that they're an influencer. If we want to like have it on a bigger scale, okay, the Jersey Shore, Snooki, okay, and so she had a lot of products that she was endorsing at one point in time.
Yeah.
But guess what? Her name her name has no weight behind it. She's just somebody who was on a TV show that people seem to recognize.
Yeah.
But who is an influencer? An influencer is someone who can move a market with their name alone. Floyd Mayweather is an influencer,
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jay-Z,
Oprah.
those are influencers. Oprah, that is an influencer, and so there's somebody who has a captive audience, and they're able to move that needle with their name. I think that is what influencer is. And so for all of these influencer agencies, I think that they need to redefine what they actually are, because just because this dude has 50,000 people, it doesn't mean that he's an influencer.
Well, are they aspirational?
Yeah.
How
That's
do you
the
mean?
thing.
That's my question.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like,
Do you want to be Snooki?
yeah,
Oh, that too.
exactly.
That too.
That's how I categorize influencer or not.
But a lot of these, a lot of companies, when they when they do marketing, it's not about a very quality impression. It's just about the sheer quantity of the impression.
And it's so funny because I actually I went out to dinner last night with a buddy, and we were talking about this very thing, where how like companies get caught up in the numbers, people get caught up in the numbers, and in a world where Instagram is king, and you see like, oh, this so and so or this company has the X amount of followers, and you just like, okay, this is kind of interesting. You dip into like an image real quick, and you see it's only got like 3 comments.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, where's your engagement? Where's the organic part of it? But for most people, I'm willing to bet, oh my God, 100,000 followers, big deal.
Yeah.
But you don't know if they paid for those, if they,
Exactly. I think a lot of it, and a lot of these agencies are more about smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
It's just about that big number. It's like it's shock and awe, But is it quality impressions? That's the only thing. I'd rather is there. But the problem is there's no way to measure a quality impression as opposed to just a regular impression.
Right.
And that right there is kind of like, I think the challenge of marketing is a lot
Especially this day and age.
Yeah, like a lot of people understand marketing to be smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
To paint a beautiful picture, to make everything so grand and seem so great from the outside, but the reality is, because we're in it, you also see the other side of it. How do you make it effective? How do you continue to drive engagement? It's creating the smoke and mirror effect, but also on the other side is it's trying to make it as effective as possible.
Yeah.
That's that's the balance I think that you're trying to achieve or you're trying to find,
Yeah.
and it's also a very difficult thing.
Yeah, there has to be some real type of substance behind it, I think. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what's your reasoning for rolling out like said campaign or image? Are you doing it because it's cool? You think this is a great piece? But like I feel like you always have to kind of ask yourself like why,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and what's your reasoning behind it. I think when it comes to a lot of these things that we do,
Yes.
does it make sense? Because we might think it's cool,
Right.
but the same thing that Mike referenced a few podcasts ago to product, we might think it's cool, but the majority might not.
And we have to abide by that because you
So
know,
it's always trying to
Yeah.
like think about it from a different point of view.
I like to say it's like playing chess instead of playing checkers. You know,
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these things have to be very, very strategic. You know, I feel like you know from a marketing standpoint, you know, from a marketing standpoint, and then with all of this sort of influencers, social media talk, you know, too many things are about. Too many things are about always trying to smother people with a sale,
Yeah.
sale, but they're not truly providing anything of value to the end consumer. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk, he has a book called Jab Jab Right Hook, and what he means by that is, you know, jabbing is you're providing people with something of actual value, and then but you go for a right hook after you've jabbed, well, maybe like 3 times, and the right hook is when you actually ask them to buy something, you know. And so instead of being somebody who just takes, instead provide value, provide value, ask for nothing, provide value, and then the 5th time, all right, hey, so you want to buy this?
Yeah.
You know.
And what that does is you're creating a customer or fan base that's willing to stay with you for a long period of time. You create that sustainable longevity of and formula for success as opposed to making a quick dollar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You brought up the purchasing, you know, likes and things like that, or viewers, and
I hate that shit.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because it's, you know, doing this whole build thing that I did with Zima, and I started an Instagram for my build, but you see other people who are doing it and they only have like maybe 5 pictures, but they have thousands of followers, and you're like, how do they get that? And then they're kind of misleading their sponsors because they're saying, oh, I have all these followers, but I'm sure they're purchased.
Yeah.
Because there's, you know,
Absolutely.
they have no substance inside of their Instagram account. You know, there's nothing there. And that's why I kind of really am proud of what you guys did with our Instagram account, because, you know, I can tell you 100% none of them was bought.
Not a
We're in the
damn
what?
one.
We're
We're
all
in-
organic.
Yeah, it's all organic. It's, you know, we started from 0 and built it up to what, the 40,000
We're
followers.
at 44.8 thousand.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty awesome. And I've seen like you know, I'm not going to name any names, but I've seen brand new toy companies who open up a new account for a product, and suddenly they're in the 40, 50, 60, 100,000 range of followers, and they've only been up for a week.
Yeah.
How, you know, that's, I don't think or they're getting that organically.
The first thing I always look at is I go into like their comment section.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
to gauge real from fake. Yeah.
And I think that's, and to your point for your SEMA thing, I think that's the responsibility of also like the sponsors and not, it just goes back to getting caught up in the numbers.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's what's crazy. You know, in marketing, it's a lot of it is about just the numbers.
Yeah.
But we have to, as the new generation of marketers, I think we have to educate the ones that don't really know about it, and let them understand. You know, it's a totally different way of marketing now, and how we're reaching people is totally different.
Mindset, approach, strategy, I think all of that is a big factor, or at least something to take into consideration when you're crafting like a new like plan or you know, for anything that you're going to be planning to roll out really, or anything that you want to go after. So I mean, again, I think it's trying to be as smart and efficient as you can, trying to make your dollar go as long as it can, or as far as it can.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, that was pretty good. I dig that. Hey, Brian, and so how many minutes are we at?
55.
Okay, 55? All right. Well, but you guys have anything else that you want to maybe expand upon?
No, not much. G Maximus.
G Maximus. I think I'm gonna stick with that for a while. G Maximus.
Today, I'm gonna get a request on Instagram. G Maximus wants to follow you.
Start my own page, and I ain't buying no damn followers either. It's gonna be all organic.
You won't see his face. You just see
The glutes.
the whole page is just the glutes.
You know what?
I think you gotta do it.
The gears in my head are turning right now.
Next, you're gonna have to get a big vanity mirror,
Yep.
and then you're gonna have to practice your posing.
Ooh.
Get that down.
G Maximus.
Who says I don't practice it?
I don't know. I just,
Hey, Daryl, why don't you take a sip of your water?
dude, I don't know what the hell just happened with that. I'm not drinking that.
What happened to your
I don't
water?
know, I was looking at it and it was like there's all this like lint and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't there when I walked in, dude.
It was like halfway through I was looking at it, I'm like, there's a bunch of lint in your water.
Yeah. I was like, that was not there when I walked in with it. I'm like, I'm gonna pour that out right now or right after this.
Yeah. It's
pretty funny.
probably
I saw you looking at
Dust.
it and I wanted to say something. But
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
on a
like,
roll.
I'm thinking like, well, I'm talking about marketing, and the other half of my brain is like, how the hell did that happen? Like, it's pretty impressive, right? To go on a tangent but thinking about how lint got in my water.
Hey man, the human brain's ability to be able to compartmentalize things is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, on that note too, 3 months ago, I was trying to find the name of a rapper who I used to listen to on Spotify, but I was not able to pinpoint what his name was. I was like, what the hell was his name? And then I didn't think about it at all. Last night, I'm taking a shower, and then suddenly it pops into my head what his name was. I'm like, wow, the human brain is stupid.
Were you still trying to think of it or it just popped up in your head?
I completely hadn't thought of it at all in these past 3 months.
That's funny.
And then it just pops up in my
Isn't that
head.
crazy? Because then that means your brain is still processing this
Still
whole
working
thing
on it.
as you're not even conscious about it.
Exactly. So why can't it do that for some actual important God.
That's funny.
I love
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah, I love being a human. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 16 of the Jadacast podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like it, subscribe. We'll send it to a friend. We are trying to build this podcast to be a big thing. We want to get 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel by next year, and the only way that we'll be able to do it is with the help of all of you. So that is all for this week. We are the voice of the toy industry. I am Jordan.
I'm Daryl.
I'm low key.
And we will see you guys next week. Oh, yeah, and I'm G Maximus.
Damn, I need to find my name.
Yeah, Daryl needs one. Peace out.
Oh, for real though.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Because I went like this. I was looking at it. And
That was not there,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
I was like, that was not there when I walked in.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not sipping on this no more, dude.